Today we're going to be testing two of these blades. We'll test this 14-inch blade and this 16-inch blade. I'm going to use this Bionare Fian to do the testing with. This is the blade that the Fian came to me with. I don't know if it's original or not. I kind of think it's not, but I can't say for certain. The Fian is rated for 0.7 amps. Here's a control performance test with the blade it has now. Okay, and that's drawing 0.43 amps. And the airflow is pretty good. It's moving a lot of air. Okay, so let's off that. And we're going to start with the 16 inches blade, which I think is the most comparable to this one here. This blade is much heavier than this one is. And both of these little plastic things are just plastic threads, which I don't like. There should be metal threads inside. Seems to fit on okay. I'll use this cap. Okay. So now we can see the clock on the blade a little bit better than I could before. And it's not perfect at all. In fact, it's pretty well off. Pretty far off. But I guess that's to be expected. I'm not sure if that's manufacturing defect or a shipping defect. I tend to think it's more of a shipping issue. You know, because they didn't ship these things in a bag, I mean, in a box. They shipped it in a bag, not a box, so it kind of just could get bent. Now this blade to me looks better on the Fian. This looks more like it could have been the original blade, especially if it was painted white. I think this is a much better fit. So here we go on the high. Okay, so the power draw is 0.44, so generally it's about the same. I think it was 0.43, so we'll say it draws about the same amount of power. The sound is very different. This is more of like a high velocity Fian kind of a sound to it. And interestingly enough, it moves more air. I think it moves significantly more air, actually. This blade, I think, is starting to warp a little bit. Yeah, it definitely is. Not to the point where the leading edge has come in front of the ear path, but it's definitely, the scoop is messed up for sure. That could be why this isn't performing so well. There's still a good variance in speeds. So I think the blade is a pretty reasonable match for the motor. Okay. Oh, I like that a lot. In fact, I think that's really good. And it, to me, it looks a lot better. The color is this is a better match for the Fian. Alright, so that's a pleasant surprise. I think I'll keep this blade on here. Alright, so that was a good test. Now let's check this stupid, filthy 14-inch blade. This has been sitting for a long time. Look at the tape is even like yellowed. Yeah, this is really unacceptable for a new product. That's in terrible condition. It doesn't fit on the shaft. That's as far on as it'll go. Okay, I didn't realize the shaft size was different. Let's see how good the clock is on this one. Yeah, that's pretty bad. And the blades are all different pitches and everything. What a joke. Now let's see what happens. I don't expect much from this at all. That's 0.43 amps, so despite being 2 inches smaller, it still seems to be putting about the same amount of load on the motor. And the airflow is better than I thought it would be. In fact, it's a lot better than I thought it would be. It's a pretty steady, strong scream. It's more narrow, but it's moving air. And in fact, I don't know how, but by some miracle, it's in almost perfect balance. Still a good range in the speeds. I don't like the sound of this blade. I find it kind of annoying. But it works, and it works a lot better than I thought it would. I'm surprised. Well, that blade in fact is not terrible. It looks awful, and it's the filthy, but the performance and the balance are surprisingly decent. Well, the shaft size is wrong, so that's definitely not going to work on this, but I'm not super impressed by this one. Even though the performance was okay, it's filthy and it's not correct. But this one, however, this one I'm quite pleased with, and I think this one is going to find a permanent home on this Fiat. I forgot to see what the balance was like on this. Oh, it's actually pretty good. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's well within what I would consider an acceptable margin of error. Of course, it moves a lot more air with the guard off. It's incredible how much more air the fans move with the guard removed. Look at that. Well, there's the first two blades, the 16-inch and the 14-inch. I would say the 16-inch was well worth the purchase. 14-inch one, I don't know about that one. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's not great either.